obviously Deegan has shown that he's the best guy in the 250 class, and J Mart being out front in the second moto, Deegan knowing he has the overall wrapped up. Do you think that he not necessarily let Martin win, but like kind of didn't push it hard because he wanted J Mart to get that final win? Obviously, he's dealing with injury, and J Mart, not to take anything away from him, was riding unbelievably well. But at the same time, like you always have to think, like if that's not J Mart in front of him and the overall's not wrapped up, if that's a guy like Kitchen or Shimoda or even Vial, does Deegan push a little bit harder to try to make that pass for the win to go 1-1?
I think in this case, honestly, a little bit of both are true because I feel like around maybe 10 minutes or so to go, I feel like Deegan was starting to creep up on Jeremy Martin, but then Jeremy ended up pulling it back out, whether that was Deegan going like, all right, I need to save it and heal my leg, so to speak, because he was still mentioning that he was sore from the crashes at Redbud. At the same time, I feel like it was just destiny for Jeremy Martin. We mentioned earlier talking about Shimoda and his rear brake. We feel like he could have been the moto winner, but sometimes it feels like fate just intervenes. And I think regardless of what was happened, Jeremy Martin was destined to win that moto, honestly. I do feel like Deegan would have tried to push harder and send it if it was, for example, a Kitchen, a Vial, a Shimoda, somebody he's been fighting with in the class for a long time. But I feel like Deegan, just by looking on the outside, has a lot of respect for Jeremy. He was pushing at one point, but I feel like he may have backed it down. Jeremy was obviously riding really steady, really consistent lap times. And by the end of the race, Deegan had at one point maybe a 1 second deficit or so. And then whether it was Deegan saving things or Jeremy just digging down deep and realizing I got this, because that's one of the things he mentioned on the podium. He was like, I realized I had like 5 laps in me, and he was like, all right, I can do this. And he ended up getting that gap up to 4.5, 5 seconds in that range.